But none has been more celebrated nor more genuinely admired than our keynote speaker here this afternoon. He's much loved, he's deeply respected, not only for all the things that he does, but much more importantly, for who he is. Like many of us here today, he began his professional speaking career from meager beginnings. He worked hard, he paid his dues, and he went on to become one of America's truly most outstanding professional speakers. He's the 10th president of the National Speakers Association, a recipient of its most important award, the CAVIT. He's a CPAE, a CSP. He's the author of many books and cassettes. He's chairman of the CPE Selection Committee and the Scholarship Selection Committee. He's husband to Marilyn, father to Patrick and Brent, and he's friend to all. His name is Robert Henry. His legacy is alive and well. For you see, my friends, he speaks from the heart, but he's loaded with experiences of the mind and spirit as well. He's been there. He's experienced success on the platform, and he's known the trial through this business. And through the thick and thin of it all, he stood tall as a mentor to hundreds of beginning speakers whose quest he never denied, no matter what the price or what the personal sacrifice might be. Robert Henry is my best friend, and I love him so. And after you hear him here this afternoon, so will you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and privilege to bring to you on this platform on this day the keynote speaker of the National Speakers Association Annual Convention from Auburn, Alabama, Mr. Robert Henry.
Oh, God loved it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What an exciting, fantastic bunch of people you are. I wish I could see. I want to ask you how many people in this room, if I could see, hold your hand. First time you've ever been to an NSA meeting. Can I see your hands? Oh, look at that. You are the future of the National Speakers Association. I say especially welcome, welcome, welcome to NSA. We're going to have so much fun. You're going to meet some of the most exciting people you have ever seen in all of your life. Dynamic, enthusiastic, funny, motivational, and we honestly love and care about each other. I can tell you about this caring business. Standing right out in that lobby just a few hours ago, a woman walked up to me and said, "I love you. I care about you. That's why I feel that I have to tell you, you're too fat. You're gonna die. You put salt on your food, your cholesterol's too high. I know you eat red meat because your body smells funny." You think I needed to hear that? I said, "Lady, that comes as a terrible surprise to me. I went to bed last night, weighed 142 pounds, and look at this." We care about each other at the National Speakers Association. We got some strange people here, though. We got some weird people in NSA. Yeah, weird people know who they are. At the mid-year workshop in San Francisco, we had a wonderful dance, and I was dancing. I'm giving it my best stuff. Slide, slide, dip, dip. That old 50 stuff works every time, blowing in her ear. Driving crazy, you blow in the ear. She was a vegetarian. Worse than that, she was a nutritionist. Divorced from a chiropractor. Real health nut. We were dancing. I was blowing. She said, "If you will answer just one question for me, I can tell you the state of your health." I looked down at her. You have to. Vegetarians are short people. I said, "Ask you a question. I'll tell you anything you want to know." She said, "Do you have sinkers or floaters? Do a what? Sink or float? I think that's disgusting. I don't like him very much. The students were clamoring to get into his class, and most significantly, he liked himself. And it was because that his problem and a speaker came together at just the right time. You can make a difference. Some years ago, Doc Blakely was speaking in Topeka, Kansas, and he did a talk called Living on Love and Laughter. It's a showstopper, guaranteed standing ovation. Oh, they loved him. The next morning, as Doc was checking out of the hotel, he heard his name paged. And he went to the telephone, and the lady said, "You don't know me, but I was in your audience last night. And I want to thank you because you did something for me I didn't think could ever be done again. You see, you made me laugh. I'm dying. I have terminal cancer. Only my doctor and I know. My best friends have no idea. I've carried this burden. It's been such a depression. But I saw the title of your talk, Living on Love and Laughter, and I came to hear you, and it worked. You made me laugh again. I want to thank you." Oh, Doc said, "Wait, I want your address. I want to call you. I'm going to send you some books. I'm going to send you some tapes." No, that won't be necessary. I just want you to know that I appreciate what you did. And she hung up very quietly. Doc never saw the lady. He never heard from her again, except in the smile of a child, or the giggle of a crowd, the laughter of an audience. You can make a difference. I think that's your responsibility. In 1979, I spoke in Brainerd, Minnesota. It was a good group. And when I finished, the president of that association called me aside. He said, "I want you to speak to my son. He's having some problems, and I want him to hear the kind of things you talk about." I said, "Great, tell me about your son." Well, he told me about little Richie Buendorf. Little Richie Buendorf he was 14, I think, at the time. He was a fat little kid. He looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy. He had pimples, and you wanted to tweak his cheek, but you didn't want to touch the pimples. And he didn't have a girlfriend, and he had no goals. He had little self-esteem. And the boys picked on him. They pushed him around. They picked on him, and they kidded him. They kidded him because he had big hooters. Had great big hooters. And I said, "Friend, there ain't nobody in the world better qualified to talk to your son than me." I had them big hooters all my life. I have fought scores of battles because somebody kidded me about my hooters. I met with little Richie Buendorf that day. We spent maybe 20 minutes together. Now, I have long ago forgotten what I said, but I'm sure it was something like, "Take charge of your life." Patricia says that. "Play the hand you're dealt." Ty Boyd says that. "Make the best of what you got." Al Walker says that. I'm sure I told her. I said, "Think positive. Choose to think a positive attitude. Act enthusiastic, and you be enthusiastic. And you're going to be somebody because little Richie Buendorf," and I patted him on the head. "You're going to be great someday." I got some slides. I want you to see what that little fella looked like. There he is. Isn't that cute? Look at there. And there's another one. Yeah. Isn't that cute? Well, we had our visit, and then I left, and I didn't hear from little Richie Buendorf for maybe, well, it was 1983, and I was president of the National Speakers Association. I was preparing to go to Minneapolis to speak to the Minnesota Speakers Association, and quite by coincidence, a week, 10 days out, I got a letter from little Richie Buendorf, and he said, "I want you to know what's happened to me since we talked." He was a senior in high school, and he was preparing to graduate, and he had a wonderful high school career. He was the captain of the football team. He was the president the senior class. He was the president of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He had been voted the outstanding Christian athlete of the year. Little Richie Buendorf, isn't that terrific? Now, please, I do not presume for a moment to say that I did that. I could never do such a thing. But oh, how I love to fantasize, how I love to dream that maybe I gave him an idea. Maybe I expanded his vision to see a different little Richie, my little Pillsbury doughboy. Well, I wrote him. I said, Richard, you're not going to believe this, but I'm coming to Minneapolis. I'm going to be there next week, and I'm going to speak to those Minnesota speakers, and I want you to meet me and go with me. We made arrangements to meet in the lobby of the hotel, and as I stood there anxiously awaiting my little Pillsbury doughboy, suddenly the door filled with the most gorgeous young man, 6'3" tall. He had muscles on his muscles. And I ran up to him and I said, Richie, is this you? Yes, yes, it was he. What excitement. I took him with me. And I told those Minnesota speakers the story of little Richie Buendorf, and he spoke to them, and I remember he said, I would love to be a speaker someday. Isn't that great? Well, we left. I didn't hear from him. I didn't hear from him until last fall. I got a letter from Richie. He had read in a journal somewhere that I had gotten the Kevin, and he wrote to congratulate me. He thought I deserved it. I thought that was so nice. And he said in that letter, I can see that sentence, he said, I want you to know of the impact that you have had on my life. Oh, isn't it? I had an impact on his life. You can make a difference. He said he was a senior. He was about to graduate from college, University of Minnesota. He had had a wonderful college career, lots of honors. And last fall, when 80,000 people would fill that stadium at the University of Minnesota, and the crowd, the excitement would begin to build, and the Minnesota Golden Gopher Marching Band would whip the crowd into a frenzy. The cheerleaders would get the crowd to screaming to welcome that team onto the field. Leading the pack was number 53, my All-American, Richie Buendorf. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Can we get the house lights in here? I want to look you straight in the face when I tell you this. We got house lights I can get? Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be fantastic if you could see a living, breathing, successful example of your potential? Well, I flew by in here today so that you might say hello from the University of Minnesota, number 53, my All-American and now a United States Secret Service agent, Richard Buendorf.
Thank you very much. In my wildest dreams, I never imagined I would stand before the NSA convention and speak to over 1,000 professional speakers. I played football before 80,000 people, and I never gave them a thought. I assure you, I feel much more vulnerable at this moment. But I am here because of a speaker, And at a time when I needed someone to open things up for me a bit, I was exposed to someone just like you. You have the best of all worlds. You love what you do, your work is meaningful, and you get paid lots of money to do your job. I once heard a speaker say, "I like me better when I'm with you." And that's how I feel about speakers. I really do like me better when I'm with you. I'd like to think that I'm a part of you. I've given over 100 talks to students, athletes, and service organizations on the subject of drug abuse. I seek out opportunities to speak about the biggest problem facing young people today. You really can make a difference. To every audience to which you speak, there'll be someone just like me. A salesman looking for a new technique, a manager looking for a new idea, someone in pain who needs a laugh, or a young person looking to you for guidance. For those whom you may never meet, I say thank you from all of us. And for those of us who heard you and took advantage of what you said, we are deeply grateful. As I choke on my words. I remember a speaker also saying that when you get knocked down, you don't lose because you get knocked down. You lose because you stay down. I'm thankful for all you speakers, and I'm thankful for all the people that got to hear from you. Thank you very much.